Hey everybody, this is Percy with Lawn and Landscape Podcast. In this episode today, I wanted to discuss with you guys feeling burned out and what you can possibly do about it. So if it hasn't happened to you before, because it has happened to me a couple of times, and if it hasn't happened to you, it will at some point. I don't mean to discourage you. I'm just trying to prepare you for the fact that when it does happen, you actually have some ammunition to battle that. So feeling burned out, it comes, especially if you're taking your lawn and landscape business and you're going to grow, or it may actually be, in certain cases, I'm going to give you one of my examples. I mean, this was years in business, and I very seldom get burned out, but when I do, I have a game plan, and I kind of go into a different mode, and I'm going to discuss that. But let me give an example in 2016, I had a moment where I felt so burnt out that I needed to recharge my batteries, so to speak. So our business was constantly growing and growing and growing. We were hiring new people. Business was really taking off. Well, all of a sudden, I have a wife and 3 kids, 7-year-old, 5-year-old, 1-year-old. Well, my wife became really, really ill and put in a hospital for a really long period of time, months at a time. Well, trying to run the business from the hospital room, coming home, trying to balance that, trying to take care of the kids, it became so overwhelming that I found myself hardly accomplishing anything, or it was detrimental to the growth of our company. So it depends on the situation that goes around you. It cannot be just with your business. It can be your personal life that affected what happened to you at your business. So that's just my particular example. I'm going to give you a few things that I try to do to bring myself back to where I normally stay, because I'm such a high-paced, fast-paced person that I'm always on the move, always on the go, ready to expand. Very seldom do I contract, and I'm watching every move. So I'm used to the struggle, the bend and flex of my business. It's what I do. It's why I'm in the position I'm in. And I'm just built and trained for that. So when the situation arises that you may run into a brick wall where, hey, man, I'm just tired. I'm thinking about hanging it up. Don't quit. That's the first thing I want to tell you is do not quit on yourself, on your business, on your dreams. That brings me to, what are your goals? What is your purpose? If this isn't your true purpose, your true calling, you're going to get burned out very easily. So for me, it helps because I'm in the right place at the right time, at the right moment, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So for me, it just helps because I'm passionate about what I do. It's what I'm meant to do and to run this business, so I don't get burned out that often. If you're getting burned out very often, you have to figure out why and figure out the root of that problem. If it's the stress coming from an external source, or if it's actually the business, what is it in the business you're not good at and that you might be able to get help on? You need to figure out where it's coming from. So to be able to handle the situation. So I can tell you that. I mean, for me, goals were important. I write down my goals. I know I have a daily goal, I have a weekly goal, a monthly goal, quarterly, yearly goal, and up to 3-year and 5-year. So anytime I get burned out, I basically just stop what I'm doing, take a look at my goals. I write them down. I was one of those people that were very skeptical about writing my goals down every day. Finally, I just hear a lot of people say, just do it. So I just started doing it every day. And as it turned out was a lot of these goals became so subconscious and I focused on them so much, I can actually visualize them happening on a day-to-day pace that I finally got in the mentality that, man, this is possible. I thought my goals were actually too big, but they feel realistic whenever you write them down every day. So I would write down your goals every day because that just helped me. But to going back to it is I always went back and said, okay, what are my goals? This is for me personally. This is for my wife. This is for my kids. Don't quit. Don't give up. And then I found the motivation. Now, another thing that I might do is I listen to a bunch of podcasts. That's why I even started this podcast. But I listen to people like Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, that discuss 10x your lifestyle. Basically every action that you do, you just 10x it. So I started finding myself just staying busy, and I really don't even think about burnout. So it's a weird way to think about it, but it's true. When I felt burnout, I just basically increased my productivity and increased the activities I was doing in a day, which made me have little successes and little wins throughout the day. I've noticed, for me personally, whenever I felt more burnout was when I was failing a lot, or my mowers were breaking down, my weed eaters were having problems, maintenance, I was getting beat up left and right, is whenever I was at my weakest moment. And that's whenever I felt the burnout mode. When things are going, think about this, imagine this, let's just say you made the biggest sale of your life. Are you going to feel burned out, or you're going to be super excited and pumped up? I increased activity, as in Grant Cardone says, and I started having small successes throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. And it pulled me out of that funk. It pulled me out of that mode of feeling burned out. So that is really, really big for me. I stay in the activity mode, and I increased it 10 times, and it helped to pull me out of it, because every time I felt at something, there were 3 other successes right back to back to back. So I never really stay in that burned out stage. So that in itself it's worth its weight in gold. It may sound crazy, but hey, if you're burned out, just try it. Because for me, I was so burned out and just tired, mentally stressed out with the kids, the wife, the hospital, just everything going on. I was willing to try anything to relax a little bit. I mean, I was getting headaches and migraines. I mean, I was physically in a bind. And I'm a fairly young guy, so, and physically fit. So for me to get to that stage in life over certain situations and external sources, it was a problem. So I had to find my little zone, I guess, happy place. It wasn't taking vacations. It wasn't, and some people may beat me up over this, and that's okay. Your prerogative, but you may want to take a vacation. Maybe that's how you find your relaxation and get back into it. I know a bunch of people that do. For me, my goals were so big and so large that I had to just work on them, because that's where I find my happiness, in my business and in those daily successes. So I increased them to get my successes, and my happiness went up. Along with my happiness, it's amazing how around the house and, with my sickly wife, I mean, it helped bring her mentality up, because I wasn't in such a daze and confused by no sleep, lack of sleep in the hospital rooms and whatnot. So if you ever hit that burnout point, you have to find your happy place. You have to find what is causing it. You have to try to tackle it. And that's the best part about it. But here is the best thing for me. When I figured all of this out, each time I hit it, I go into that same mode that I hit before and increase activity. So I handle it the same way every time, because it will happen. It's a hot day, let's just say dead of summer, and you're helping your guys try to catch up on, your business is exploding. You might be out there in the field. If you're a smaller company, you're out there in the field. If you're not out in the field, you'll find yourself in the office stressed out. You can't keep up. The work's always there. No matter if you fall asleep, you wake up, it's always there. You're going to get to a breaking point. When you're at that breaking point, something triggers in me once I figured this out and bring myself back to it. It's the same process each time, so you don't have to make it up each time. It may be an external source that's different from the first time that's causing this burnout or this stress, but you can figure it out, and it's the same process. So I would take the position you're at now. Hey, if you are in that situation, don't give up. Don't give up, because it actually, when you figure out this process, I hardly ever hit that point now, because I know when it's coming on, and I know what to do about it. And before it ever gets really, really low, and my mental state gets really, really low, I defeat it before it even gets there. So this is an unusual podcast to talk about. I just know that I fight it, And I have heard other lawn and landscapers fight this a lot because of what we do, and we're always in the heat. And maybe you guys up north maybe not fight it as much. I know you'll get burned out in other ways, but it's not because it's 120 degrees like it is here in Louisiana. The heat has a lot to do with it. So a lot of it's just heat related, and you can get over that. But the other stuff is very, very hard and mentally challenging to overcome. So I just want to do this podcast for the simple fact that I fight this, and I figured others in this industry would. And I really want other guys to not quit, because it takes each of us and all of us to make this industry go around. So I don't want to see anybody give up on it before they actually hit their goals. So again, Percy LaPointe, Lawn and Landscape Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate everything. Please give me reviews, like them, give me comments, let me know your input.